to What She Said Sports. Happy Saturday. Hey, everybody. I hope y'all had a chance to watch the video that I put out just before this one, probably in the 8 o'clock hour. It's a good one. If not, catch it later on. Welcome, everybody. Welcome the man above, Tina, Juanita. How you doing? How you doing? Okay, so you saw the thumbnail. Hopefully, you've also had an opportunity to see Shedeur Sanders hit a home run, his first at bat in a celebrity game by his teammate and peer, who I feel like was gravitating towards Shedeur Sanders. Um, Njoku. They said David Njoku is one of the first people to welcome Shedeur to Cleveland. And we saw them on the field last week laughing and talking together. And then we see Shedeur at Njoku's celebrity game. So my question is, uh, what does it mean? What does it mean that Shedeur Sanders, who's a quarterback, walks up to a baseball mound, right? And knocks it out the park at his first at bat, a home run. It means he's an athlete. He's an athlete, right? And the designation of athlete is for players who play multiple sports. And it's not uncommon to have gone to high school with people who played three sports, who played two sports, some track, basketball, or baseball, or football, or whatever the time period, if they had the free time, what it allowed. Coach Prime was one of those. Coach Prime played high school. He played quarterback, right? So imagine his son, one of his sons, becoming a quarterback, but then also too being really good at baseball. And he chose for himself. He chose football. But is it possible baseball could choose him because of the way Shador has been devalued in the league and mismanaged, mishandled, right, by the league itself, seemingly shunning his talents, choosing to ignore that this young man is an athlete, going out on a limb pre-draft, during the draft, locking him out of the first round, knowing he has elite talent, right? So he's not just a football player. He's not just a quarterback. He can probably play baseball. And you know who else can play baseball? That young fella that's visiting Coach Prime and they're fishing together. Travis Hunter. See, people know Travis Hunter plays multi-sports. So does Shedeur. He just don't talk about it. And now we get an opportunity to see this young man knock it out the park. And all people could say was, he is just like his dad. He is just like his father. And I believe Shiloh plays baseball. And Shedeur, people were saying in the comments, he was really good in high school. And I know I watched Shedeur go to batting practice. Um, he actually, between, I think it's the CU Pro Day. So after the combine and before CU Pro Day, Shedeur was doing some traveling and he stopped in Houston for a week and he went to batting cages. It's recorded and he was knocking it out the park. But he prefers football, right? But maybe with all of this, let's say the opportunity presents itself. What does it mean? It means Shedeur has options. Football is not the only game he obviously can play. I mean, how many of us can walk up to and pick up a bat for the first time and we knock it out with a home run? That young man is an athlete, and it proves that Cleveland is choosing not to see his talents. They're choosing to ignore his talents. The NFL chose to ignore who he is. They probably don't even know he could play baseball. Seeing Shedeur knock it out the park with his first at bat proves he's an athlete. It means he has options. So if the NFL want to mess around and devalue this young man, it wouldn't surprise me if there's some baseball people out here. You got Magic Johnson, you got Coach Prime, you have people that Coach Prime know. Hey, if it don't work out, with football, he can come this way and talk about rejuvenating baseball, right? This young man has options, right? So for people who think, oh, we're going to smother him on the depth chart because we know he wants to play football, he can also play baseball. So that's what it means. It means he's an athlete. It means he's elite. It means he has options. That's exactly what that home run means. Let me see what y'all are saying. It said it means he's a winner, and he's probably he would win in whatever sport he plays, in my opinion. Facts. Because if I'm not mistaken, when they were getting ready for the Alamo Bowl, there was this good, like a send off, right, at the school, and Travis and Shedeur were there, and they were playing basketball. And I thought I remember hearing somebody say Travis tried to dunk it, or he did dunk it. Shedeur was playing basketball, right? These guys are athletes, right? And to shun elite athletic talent, meaning you walk right up to the mound and hit a home run on the first swing. Don't think that baseball teams out there texting each other. Did y'all see this? Did y'all see Coach Prime Kid walk up to the mound and hit a home run? See, sometimes things choose us when we choose what doesn't love us back, right? It means he has options. And to me, all of this happening in the same time span is God's grace for Shedeur and showing the world. Cleveland is crazy. Cleveland is crazy. Not only would he be a winner for Cleveland and don't need to be on the bench, he could leave there and go probably enjoy the experience of baseball. Michael Jordan did it. Russell Wilson did it. I saw Kyler Murray, who I know also too could have played baseball. I saw him practicing or somewhere balling out playing baseball. I saw Bryce Young with a hockey stick. So these guys are athletes. And just like Shedeur and Travis, the next the buffs that are up now, I saw right before this podcast, the receivers and the quarterbacks were out there throwing together. JoJo has an arm on him. Gibson so was a quarterback. These are two wide receivers. And we should definitely have some trick plays. And remember, we saw Jimmy Horn Jr., I guess it was like a lateral to Jimmy, and he launched the ball, whatever, to the end zone. We definitely need some trick plays between JoJo and Gibson. If we have all of this talent on the field, at wide receiver, and they have arms on them, yeah, we definitely need to spice up the plays with some trick plays with those guys because I don't think anybody saw that coming. But it proves a lot of these guys that choose football can also play something else. And football might want to start loving these guys back because they can go do something else. And if baseball decides to go, hey, welcome, it's on. It's on. In fact, I saw that King Griffey Jr. held right here, I think in Atlanta, like a baseball tournament or something to highlight HBCU players. So there's that effort there. And then I just saw a post a couple of days ago, or in the middle of this week that passed, that several HBCU baseball players were invited to the MLB combine for baseball. And y'all know my philosophy after this draft. If you have dual and triple sport athletes and baseball and basketball that come with guaranteed money, stay in school and get the money for whatever sport you want to. But you need to pursue the guaranteed money in places that will respect you. And the NBA has I'm not going to say a shortage, but their numbers were down for players. So go that way, right? And when it comes to baseball, they make more money and they are also guaranteed. Go that way. Remember, Coach Prime played baseball before he actually got to the pros. So to me, that's a viable option for these guys rather than the NFL. And I think a lot of people are starting to echo the sentiment. Forget the NFL. That should be your last option. That should be the option if you have no other option. If you a quarterback and you can go to the MLB in baseball, go get that guaranteed money, right? Lenore Sellers, let that young man stay in school for 2 years and get his money. Don't be so quick to throw him to the wolves. Learn your black NFL quarterback history and understand that black quarterbacks are in an abusive relationship with the NFL. The NFL should be the last option, the last resort, if you have no other choices. That's it. And then you need a plan, what I call the stripper plan from Diamond and Players Club. Get in, have your goals set, your money in your head, and get out. And don't look for 5 years, and definitely don't sign 10 years. Get in, get your money, and get out. And remember, it's not guaranteed, so that better be the last resort. Sometimes you got to give people what they think they want, right? They think they want mediocrity at quarterback. Then go ahead. They're willing to bypass superior talent, multi-sport athlete talent, which means these guys can play anything. That's exactly what athletes can do. These guys, and they do it at a high level, just like his father, which is exactly what was being said by 47. Are y'all stupid? His father, blah, 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 in college. Yeah. And now he had a celebrity baseball game, knocking it out the park on the first at bat. That is not anything to be taken lightly. That presents he has options. And everybody who's at CU has options. They like playing football. But does the NFL love you back? And if you feel like after what I've seen with Shedeur, no. And you have other options, you need to exercise those other options. You should always go after guaranteed money. I don't know why you wouldn't do that anyway, to be perfectly honest. So, I don't know why these guys would choose non-guaranteed money in a league, where race norm still seems to be prevalent. Whether, even though they paying $1 billion settlement, right? I don't even know why you would go in that direction, that you would have to be whipped into submission. I saw something yesterday. Remember the TV show Ballers? I started watching it again. I like to watch stuff after I haven't watched it in a while. Because I ain't going to remember all that, right? That's like 5 seasons. And I forgot how it started, right? And it actually started with The Rock's character, who's an agent. It started with him being in pain and having nightmares about an injury that it looked like he caused to somebody else. And he's popping these, tablets, prescriptions, and then the scene goes into, he goes to one of his clients' houses because he's an agent. And this man is asking this player who was just drafted and got $12 million out of college, has everybody laying around his house, his family. He's supporting everybody. And he asked for some money. And he's like, you need money? You just got 12 million out of college. He said, well, I gotta support my family and everybody else. So he wanted to borrow $300,000 until the season started again, which is highlighting what? The reality. And that's reality. See, the guys that we're watching, Travis, no contract, he got to make it to the first game check with whatever he has. And we know he just got married, and we know he spent a water cash. Hopefully, he got a lot more. But I know one thing: if he ain't have $10 million when it started, he gonna feel it until he get paid, and that could be what's weighing on him. But that could also be another thing to pressure him into signing as is. So he got a lot on his mind. And then you have players like Ocho who said it is a reality that these guys get $3 million like a year, right? And they broke before they live in paycheck to paycheck. Because if you get 3 million, you might as well cut that in half. And he said you got to still pay your agent. I guess they don't take it all at once, so you got to make payments or something. And he said you got to pay your agent, you got to pay this, you got to pay that. You got houses here, houses there. Houses have taxes, regardless of where it is. Houses have taxes. I think unless you was in the military. So Ocho pointed it out, and Ballers basically set it up right. And then it went to another guy. It went to a guy who was driving down a street and he was speeding in traffic. And he was with a young lady in the car and she was asking him all of these questions. Come to find out, he was cheating with her and she was upset that he was married. And she started hitting on him while he's speeding in this Bentley and they hit a tractor. And the next thing you know, it cuts away to the scene at his funeral. And his wife and his kid are there. And that kind of reminds me a little bit of the guy from Tennessee. Y'all know that's kind of the same story, that the girl basically caused the death of a quarterback out of Tennessee. And he had a wife and kids. So while Ballers is fictional, the names have been changed to protect the innocent. Those are realities mixed in with just a little bit of TV. changing up the scenario. Instead of the person dying having 3 kids, he only had one. So you don't exactly know, but these are real accounts of things that happen, right? So the guy is going broke, right? And then there was another guy. He retired. So they had him at the club with some of the other guys who still played. And the girl that's the groupie is talking to him and was like, "Oh, so what team you play for?" And he was like, "Oh, I just retired." She was like, "Oh, bye." Because it's all about the active players, right? And she ends up with another guy in the bathroom. The guy that Denzel Washington's son, David Washington, his character, right? So it just paints a picture, right? That these girls are not into these guys. They just using these guys to get, to have fun, right? And if you're not careful, yeah, you could end up with people at your funeral if you with somebody who knows that you're married and they're upset that you didn't get a divorce yet. And nobody said that he was getting a divorce. She was just mad, right? And the last guy, the one that retired, he said he played for the Bucks. And his wife is like a doctor or a nurse. And he was laying on the couch watching TV when she came home from work. And she was like, "Babe, you gotta find a job. You gotta get something to do." Because he just laying around. Guess what his problem is? He doesn't have an identity. He doesn't know who he is. And I said, now I see why these guys don't know who they are when they retire. Because their identities get stripped at the jersey signing. Remember, leave everything behind. If you'd have brought that with you, you would have known that you were a star in college. You are a star in the NFL, and you will be a star in some way, shape, or form. And you can formulate that into a brand and a business for yourself instead of not knowing who you are. And that is also a reality. I've listened to I Am Athlete with these guys that are retired talk about how they struggle, how their marriages struggle because the women get used to the guys being gone, and now you at home laying on the couch feeling sorry for yourself, and they like, "Look, I'm already out here doing everything myself, and now you're not doing nothing." So it causes a problem, and then the money changes, right? So to me, out of all of the sports, football should be your last resort. Football should be if you don't have baseball to do, if you can't do basketball, if you can't go run track somewhere, then you could do football. It's not guaranteed. People don't know who they are afterwards. They broke in the league. They broke after the league. Their marriages crumble. The relationships are fake. I mean, what is it all for? Hell, you can't even get to the Super Bowl because that ain't even the plan of the league itself. It's just a big mess. I'm like, Shedeur gonna have me out here watching baseball. So it proves that Shedeur, one, is an athlete, two, Cleveland is crazy, and three, they are intentionally looking away at his talent. They are intentionally choosing to be blind and act like they don't see that he's their franchise QB. And somebody, the Tony Grassi guy, was talking about, let's be honest, I'm going to be honest, the franchise QB is in the next draft. Now, let me set this up for you. Okay, on the last video I just did, I used a bunch of article clippings and whatnot, reality, receipts, right? And one of the receipts talked about how Shedeur was going to be the franchise QB for Cleveland this year when he was going to go at number 2. And I told y'all how they presumably pivoted away after the owner made a public statement about, "Oh, we still got Deshaun Watson." And I'm like, and you paid your defensive tackle, which nobody drafts the defensive tackle first, right? So they made it seem like because they still had Deshaun Watson, they got to bury themselves out of that contract. So we're not going to get a quarterback. We're going to use a hodgepodge of Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dylan Gabriel. Now, Shedeur was supposed to be the franchise quarterback, but the money must have been our problem because you have who? Deshaun Watson. So then you end up with Shedeur for $4 million instead of 40. So that solves your money problem. So essentially, you got your franchise QB for $4 million. So you have no more money issues, right? Y'all follow me? So we Gucci then, right? Why they look unhappy? Why they don't want him to be their franchise QB? Why they don't want him to be QB1 if you don't have the money issues? I mean, it's not like you went and got another quarterback and you expected Dylan to start and now you're confused. Dylan was never going to start. He's just going to hand off the ball. to one of their running backs. That's why they run the running back set with two running backs, right? They know Dylan's limitations. So how are you not happy that you got your franchise QB for $4 million? Whether you colluded or 47 told you to do it, and somebody called you up and say, hey, since y'all were the ones interviewing him, just go ahead and get him. How are you not happy that you got your franchise QB for $36 million less than it was supposed to be? You still got it. So why you not happy about it? Why you don't give him his number two? Why you treating him like he a stepchild? Why you keeping him at 4 when he's still your franchise QB? If you were pursuing him and got him at a deal, he should be out here everywhere. Unless you think we're gonna say you intentionally devalued him. We're gonna say that anyway because he is a first string, first year starter. We're gonna say that anyway. We know that that's exactly what you did. Not that he could land in your hands. The question is, why are you holding him back and excluding him from first team reps if you got him for $4 million? Why you don't give him your jersey? Why you don't capitalize off of it? Anybody know? I mean, I could see if you wanted to trick us and go, look, we just want to get him for cheap because we can't afford him. Because people have said that. I really think that they couldn't afford Shedeur. So they just kind of devalued him and came up with all these stories. And they knew since he was off the board, no other team could get him. So and some people say 47 came along and that was intentional. I think James say that was part of the act. And it's like, y'all better get him. And then Cleveland, since you met with him, you get him. And then now he falls into your hands at $4 million and you pretend not to be happy. Do y'all think that's it? Or do y'all think that the frowns on their faces were genuine because they like, we didn't want to get him. Uh, we played him early on and we thought we was done with him. What do y'all think it is? Be honest. Do you think it's all a ruse and they devalued him so Cleveland could get him cheap and they pretended to be upset and they holding back his jersey number because they said the numbers could switch. They already said the numbers could switch, but they done made 250 million or some people say $1 billion off these jerseys with the 12, and now you're gonna switch to the 2. Do y'all think that was the plan from the beginning to devalue him so Cleveland could get him for cheap? Or do you think that the monkey wrench, them being forced to get him before Philadelphia does? That's one theory. Them being forced to get him because 47 came through. That's another theory. It's really unexpected. They were going to wait to see how far he drops. And they ended up with somebody they didn't want to get. Which one do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. Seriously. Which one do you think? And here's the thing. Let's go with scenario A. This was the plan all along to get him for cheap, to devalue him, to get him for cheap. One is unethical. They definitely in trouble for that. And remember what I said. You think you're gonna put him out here as your franchise QB, as your starter for $4 million, and you were supposed to get him for 40? So you make him think, we really don't want you, right? And you make him think, we probably gonna cut you, and you pretend to hold him back. You let him compete, but you pretend to hold him back, knowing all along what you have is not gonna sustain you, and he will eventually become your QB1. And it just means that your plan worked. Your plan worked. I got you for cheap. What do y'all think? If that's the case, it's unethical and they ass is in trouble. They in trouble. And then if they weren't going to draft him at all, make him an undrafted free agent, and they then decided to get him off of waivers or undrafted free agent, and they got him for $4 million, and they didn't want to, or something like that, and they treat him like they're treating him genuinely because they really want him to get the hell out of here. Because I really don't want him to get the QB1. Don't forget that 17 to 32. If I'm keeping that in play, 17 to 32 says, okay, we might have got you for $4 million. We don't give a damn. You can't be a starter. Not at this team, not right now. they still in trouble for collusion and intentionally downgrading his draft stock. That's unethical. So the league is not out of the water. Cleveland is not out of the water. I'm just asking y'all, can y'all see a play that this was always the case to get him for cheap and make him work for cheap? Unethical, also illegal. And then, or is this really still about 17 to 32? They was gonna put him all the way out, make him try to no make. In other words, I'm gonna put him all the way out of the draft. I'm gonna make it very, very hard for him to get to QB1. And the reason why they're still treating him like he's a four-string QB, even though he's chosen to be the best, which means they are choosing, they are being willfully ignorant. They know he's talented, but they don't want to admit it because they don't want him to be QB1. And that's why they were unhappy. He was not part of the plan at the end. They moved away from him. They didn't want to get him. Maybe they was never going to get him. But then they ended up with him anyway. And God damn it, we know he's the best, but we can't let him be QB1. A or B? Which one? It said Cleveland Browns not acknowledging it because they know they colluded against Shedeur on draft day. Okay, I like you, Queen T. Welcome back, Queen T. And they still waiting on Shedeur to prove them right. They gonna be waiting. They still waiting for Shedeur to prove them right. Okay, Queen T, that was good. Okay, all the lies these made up about this kid. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Okay, it says it's not about love. It's business for most of these women. Some of these men continue to fall for the same trip. Not facts. Queen T said they physically and mentally broke and financially broke. Who? LB? Wait, what does this say? It said they physically and mentally broke and financially broke. I think that's what that say, LB. Right. LRLB. I can't really see what that is. Okay. I don't know what that means, Queen T. I need you to expand just a little bit. Let's see. Ghost of Nessa says, welcome back, Ghost Nessa. It says, Browns better not think they are going to get Manning. I don't think Grandpa Archie is going to play for that. It's funny how the Browns and the Saints think they are in a running for Archie, but James dropped a message in the last video that said the Mannings came out for the second time and said he is not coming out of school. I already heard he wasn't coming out in 2026. So when people say the franchise quarterback is in the next draft, what I think they're doing is trying to deflect from the reality, from the documented fact that Shedeur was supposed to be the franchise QB. And if you got your franchise QB for $4 million, that solves your money issues. Why are you not still making him your franchise QB even when he's proven the best QB? Even if it's for 1 year, he's still the best QB. They are doing that to deflect from the fact that either they were never intending to draft him and they propped him up only to make him fall. They lured him in. They like scammed him. Oh, because I read it again today. How they met with him extensively, going all the way back to the Shrine Bowl, this, that, and the other. They made sure to think he was going to the Browns. I don't think the Raiders made him think that toward the end. Once they got Geno Smith, that was it for them. See, the Browns want to stand behind. Well, the owner came out and said that they got Deshaun Watson, so we're not gonna get Shedeur. But they kept meeting with Shedeur, and they kept it secret. See, they were publicly meeting with Shedeur. Everybody knew about it. I even have a statement in the last video that says that. It even says that this he's gonna be their franchise QB. They met with him, and don't forget, they told him things. What did Kevin Stefanski say on that phone call? I told you God works in mysterious ways. Now, I don't know. People say he wasn't happy about it, but that meant that they had already been talking. Kevin Stefanski said we met with him extensively. Andrew Berry even said we met with him extensively. Then why were you not happy that you got your franchise QB? for $36 million off. Because you wasn't gonna never draft him. You was playing with him. You set him up to make him think you was gonna draft him because all y'all been talking about it. All you know what that's like? That's like five people befriended one person. And then they all were like, let's go to the park and we all hang out. And then the other four jumped at one. They lured him there in isolation so nobody else could get it. That's why I never believed the lies about the Giants. It didn't even make sense. And we know it didn't make sense. But they see the Giants was trying to, we know we want to get Dart, right? But if he ain't good, we gonna get in trouble. We gotta prove why we are not getting the best QB in the draft. We have to prove that. So do who else? The Giants. I mean, the Browns. They got to prove it too. Why you didn't get the best QB in the draft? Oh, we got Deshaun Watson. So when he is now $4 million, I think they got a phone call. Problem solved. You're gonna need to go on and get him. But they're not happy about it. They acted like he truly is a four-string QB, like they did not pre-draft with him extensively. So they pretending to act like he's not good. They actually tried to hide behind his talent is outdated. But you met with him extensively and you was going to draft him earlier, but it cost too much money. So why is it all of a sudden he not good? When did he get to be not good? See, that's where they messed up. Andrew Berry messed up. He was speaking as if he didn't know Shedeur. And Kevin Stefanski said, we know exactly who Shedeur is. We pre-draft with him extensively. And then Andrew Berry comes back and said, yep, we know he going to come in and work hard because we pre-draft with him extensively. Kevin Stefanski threw it out there. So 17-32 seems to be why it is that they're not happy because they were never going to draft him. 17-32 must be the priority. We're going to find out. We're going to find out because he the best QB they have. And now with 5 weeks or 4 weeks left to go, we have what? The media waging the same defamatory negative campaign that they did pre-draft. They just running it back. Oh, he's slow. He can't learn. Does anybody remember Coach Pollock from CU coming out and calling it lies? I was his first OC. They just went back to that. And then the traffic ticket happens. And then they're like, he's severely immature. If Cleveland thinks that they could hang on to, well, we're not going to make you QB1 the starter or QB2 because you got a traffic ticket, they about to open a can of worms. Because somebody better explain why Aaron Rodgers is the starter in Pittsburgh with allegations of emotional and physical domestic violence, leaving a trail of crimson. Somebody better explain that. They don't even want to talk about that. That's why he has on a wedding ring and supposedly his wife is imaginary. Because he went and ran out instead of being accountable. He tried to deflect by saying she crazy because this woman married me. They don't want to talk about that. Just like they don't want to talk about Travis Hunter hadn't signed his contract. Quinshon Judkins hadn't signed his contract. It's not just Shamar Stewart. After that softball game, just the way fans received him, they still gonna stand on Cleveland's head about Shedeur. And now after him walking up to a first at bat and hitting a home run, they look crazy. Because that means he's an athlete. He also has options just like Travis. They're not happy because they plan backfired. Yep. The Browns got a lottery ticket, which should do a fax, and they don't even want to use it. Imagine somebody giving you a $500 million lottery ticket. You know why I say $500 million? He sold 250 million in jerseys. He the number one jersey sales. And then there's people gonna want to go to the games to see him as soon as they figure out he gonna play. Then there's the whole TV situation, merch, this, that, and the other, right? They done switched up jerseys. They done added more jerseys to the original jersey. So now there's like three more. It's a white one that look more like a t-shirt. I think Taylor Swift had one of those on. It's three, so they steadily selling merch. They're like, okay, well, the sales are slowing down on the brown one. Switch up the style. They got a baseball one. They have a baseball jersey, Sanders, in Browns colors with the Browns logo on it. Just like the one he had on yesterday. But instead of for Njoku, they have one for the Browns. They selling jersey after jersey after jersey. So they decided, well, we're going to quietly make money off of him. That's what they doing. They just not letting you know. The media's just not talking about it. Oh, Shedeur's #1 in jersey sales, and now they got a new one. No, they could. They could talk about it, but they doing it on the low. So they exploiting him. So I don't think they're gonna cut him. I don't think they're gonna cut him. I think they're gonna try to bench him, and that's gonna get interesting. That's gonna get interesting because we already knew when mandatory minicamp wrapped up that he was the best quarterback that they have. You know what we know now? That he's probably the best athlete that they have at the quarterback position. So there's no reason why he can't play quarterback if he can walk up to a goddamn mound and hit a home run. That means he could do multi sports at a high level. Like who? His father. So now the NFL don't want to recognize DNA, but they gave Randy Moss's son an opportunity to try out at wide receiver. But they said it was nepotism with Shedeur to come into the draft at quarterback. See what happens when you're a quarterback? You get attacked, especially if you're a black one. Shedeur is marketing genius, in my opinion. It's as if everything he touches turns to gold, and they see it, in my opinion. Facts, Queen T, because I don't know if he knew he gonna go out here to this baseball game and ball out. I mean, he just being Shedeur. Again, that's how he warms up sometimes. That's part of his training to go to the batting cage. That's what I saw when he was in Houston. I was like, oh, he can play baseball. And people are like, he was really good at baseball in high school. I think they say Shiloh played baseball. Talk about that DNA. Yes, they wanted him for cheap. After all, the New York mess. And why they not happy, Val? And that's what you would think, right? That they wanted him for cheap. And this is all a setup, and they're going to come back eventually and go, yep, he's the starter. See, you would think, just like you see them capitalizing off the jerseys, you would think that you would see them capitalizing off the season ticket sales unless their season ticket sales are already robust and they like, we don't need no help in that department. You think they will be happy to put him out there QB1, but I think their motto is we can keep you at QB4 and still sell your jersey, which means 17 to 32 is still the priority. Time will tell. Time will tell. Let's see what people said. Gracie said, I think it's a scenario A in addition to having keep him out of QB1. Okay, Gracie. So you think this is about devaluing him, getting him for a cheaper price because they couldn't afford it, even though they could, or getting him for a cheaper price regardless, just devaluing him and keeping him away from QB1. So punishing him for the most part. Okay, I like that. So a combination, a hybrid of the two. Okay, I like that. Devaluing him, getting him for cheap, for $4 million, and then playing keep away at the QB1 position, 17 to 32. I like it. Okay. Tuna said no. I believe it's like you first said. They were playing on code until the prank went viral. Okay, so the original team he was supposed to go to had to save face. Somebody made that call. 47 maybe. Okay, nope. I like that. I still believe that too. It said yes, they wanted him for cheap after all the New York mess. Okay, that was Val C. And then welcome, Avanette. Welcome. She said A. Okay. Welcome, Pinkard. I call people by last name. I hope you're okay with that. Tuna said their plan was to embarrass the Sanders family because Coach Prime said my son is the first pick in the draft. Damn it, Prime. So y'all think this is about Coach Prime, and because Coach Prime said his son is the first pick in the draft, and this, that, and the other. Okay, all right, okay, all right. Okay, let's go with that. So let's say this is about what Coach Prime said. How does that explain what happened to Miro being pushed down and buried on the depth chart And then how does it explain Cam, first overall guaranteed money, $45 million, competing with the guy that failed last year and makes way less money than him? See, it proves I can pay you $45 million and still make it hard for you. Why would you do that? Why would you pay $45 million guaranteed dollars to Cam Ward and not put him out there, name him the starter, so people could go running by their jerseys, things that businesses do? Why would you create dysfunction? Because you never wanted to part ways with Will Levis. You still wanted to move forward, but Will Levis, but you had to take Cam because this overall plot was not going to work. If you snub Cam, if you snub Shedeur, and you snub Miro, it will be so transparent that that is racism. So for those that say it's about Coach Prime, you have to explain Miro, you have to explain Cam. And the draft is over. And this is what they're doing to Cam in Tennessee, making him compete with a guy that's last, even though he's first on the depth chart, which is why Cam Ward said, sure, I don't mind coming out here and showing them that they can't F with me. He ain't just talking about Will Levis. He talking about the people that's making him compete for his job when he won it outright because he's the best person in the draft and the best person in Tennessee. So see, they making Shedeur, they keeping Shedeur away from competing. They making Cam compete, but they won't let Shedeur compete. You see the difference? And they don't care if Miro compete because they think they got him out of too far back. See, that's what all of this being drafted late is truly about. Because what do you hear them say? As a fifth round pick, A, you don't get to pick your own jersey number. B, you might not even make the roster because you drafted too late. He not even on the depth chart. And then C, you'll never be QB1 because you was drafted too late. They really stand by where you were drafted. But when it comes to Cam, they don't want to stand by it no more. That's how I can still say the priority is 17 to 32. And the reason why they were so despondent looking, they were not happy about Shedeur, is because they didn't want to get him after setting him up, making him believe that he was going to come there, which is why Stefanski said, I told you God works in mysterious ways. So that means somewhere along the line, Stefanski communicated that to Shedeur. We don't know. It could have been maybe Shedeur texts Stefanski after the first round ended and said, hey, and then he was like, well, hold on, buddy. God works in mysterious ways. Maybe after the prank, he texted because they told him things. They communicated things. They met with him extensively, and now the person they played and scammed is on their team. Oh shit. Imagine you stealing somebody's purse, right? And you just walking down the street and you sit down to eat, and the person who purse you stole is your waitress. What you gonna do? See, you thought you got away, but you run right into the person, and now you have to interact. That's guilt. That's why I say it's still 17 to 32. Because they should have been high-fiving each other when they got it for $4 million. They should have been, look what we did, and that's really they can rub it in his face. But they got him for $4 million. They weren't happy about it. And they still not capitalized off of it. They trying to hide him from the public. They hope that the media with the hit job will make people like us and people that don't know him, who they think their fans are, dislike him. Therefore, just like the New York Giants, who did something asinine, they doing the same thing. Shedeur is this, Shedeur is that. All they were doing was setting up to justify what they're getting ready to do. And they use the media. They use the coaching staff. What we don't see in Cleveland is coaches on the record saying things like he's entitled or he's a problem. They did that at first. Then they cleaned it up. Now it's just the media. So they could be using the media as a hit job to justify why he's not going to start. He wasn't gonna start no way. If he was gonna start, you would have saw Shedeur take first team reps. If they were gonna take advantage of his $4 million price tag, his $36 million devaluation, you would have saw him do first team reps. They would have him out here everywhere. But no, they selling the jerseys quietly because they don't want you to look at them as being shisty. Why are you selling his jersey if you don't like him like that? Because they don't want you to say, oh, y'all using him. You're not going to start him, but you selling his jersey. Right. And that's what happened in the draft. You wanted all of us to come sit around and watch you hold Shedeur hostage for 3 days and then humiliate him and discard him. And you was going to end your programming and you thought that was going to be the end of it. But lo and behold, here come 47. And they had to do it. That's why he, 47, right after the draft, announced the 2027 draft in of all places, Washington, D.C., and 47 made the announcement. And that's when I started saying they need protection. That's why I know 17 of 32. You have to pull back the lens and look at Cam and Miro to see how they're being treated. To see, this is about black quarterbacks. The NFL does not want quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders now. Black quarterbacks. So their plan was to embarrass him. Yep. They definitely wanted to embarrass him. Tuna, it says, K said, I don't think he was in their plan. The way they speak about him and Dylan is different. Also, the stories, the plan, that they plan in the media about Shedeur are negative. Facts. I totally agree. I don't think they don't want him there. They don't want Shedeur in Cleveland because they're guilty. Remember, all 32 franchises got the email about Shedeur. What were their responses to the email? What did people say when they opened the email and they saw title Shedeur Sanders' new phone number? And then they open the email and they open the attachment and they see he's getting cut. How many people hit reply and put LOL or this, that, and the other? They don't want him there because they guilty. They set him up. They don't want the truth to come out. The longer Shedeur is in Cleveland, the more the truth is coming out. And the truth about they hand in it. Somebody around them. No, they weren't going to never draft him. And that's a whole different situation. See, it's different to say we were going to draft you, but then we changed our mind. They won't even say that out loud. They talk about Shedeur like we don't know that they was going to draft him, saying that his skill set is retro style classic to QB and it's too high. His value is too high for the first round. So why you not happy you got him in the fifth? They don't want him there. My money is on 17 to 32. Facts, Blue Moon. That's what I'm going to go with statistically. Yup. It said the NFL plan was to let Shedeur become a free agent. I believe that. But the owner of the Cleveland Browns wanted Shedeur in the first round. So he knew that he got a first round for a little money. Well, I mean, I could see that 22. So why he not happy about it? Why they not happy? Why they don't give him the two? Why they don't capitalize off of it? That's what I'm saying. Cleveland is not capitalizing off of Shedeur devaluation of $36 million. They're not capitalizing it off of it. Like when they said, well, we got Deshaun Watson contract. Well, that meant you need money. But then you get him for $4 million and you're not happy. And then you're out here saying he gotta prove himself. Like you don't know who the hell he is. And then you're saying, I know exactly who he is because we pre-draft with him extensively. Okay? So you know who he is. You know he's better than fourth string. But then they have to say, well, he was drafted in the fifth round. See, actions and words not matching. I know who he is. But we can't afford it. But then we got him for cheap. But then he was drafted in the fifth round. You see all of that? You see that? They're sticking to the script. They cannot make Shedeur QB1. They don't want him there because they know what's finna go down. They know they can't make him QB1. This is not the problem that they want to have. They don't want, the longer he's there, people are going to realize. So y'all was supposed to be drafting him. So what happened? But then you got him for cheap. Why you not happy? And if you drafted, you met with him pre-draft extensively, you know how good he is. Why is he fourth string? They cannot make Shedeur QB1. If they took him, when they took him off the board in the draft, that meant nobody could draft him. How did Cleveland get him? Who told Cleveland to get Shedeur? And then if I'm telling you nobody can draft him, I'm telling you nobody can start him. They guilty. Hey fam, just checking in. Hey Jackie, how you doing? Thank you for stopping by. It said, let's see, Queen T said what I was saying. What I was saying was you were talking about our guys choosing football. Oh yeah, they be broke, and I said you're right. They're physically broken, financially broken. Facts. Okay, thank you for expanding on that. I appreciate it. Thank you, Queen T, and glad to have you back. Unity 12 said Arch Manning not better than Shador this year, next year. They need a great white hope, right? And that's who they thought. I ain't gonna even say that's who they thought Jackson Dart was. Manning is not the answer. They want to berate Shador and minimize the skills. They can't. He's too good, right? And every time they try to hold him back, he's unflappable. And they can't even say we got something on him, a traffic ticket, because it sounds crazy. When you got Aaron Rodgers over here accused of domestic violence, you cannot. That's why I said they stuck. Cleveland is stuck because the fans showed you they don't give two rats about that ticket, and he got a driver, so they gonna be jealous. See, I think he didn't have a driver for the same reason he didn't do this at first. He's trying to kind of like shield off who he is so they don't kind of use it against him. But then he's about to get himself hurt. So now he has to have a driver. So he has to be himself. He has to keep doing this because now the fans are doing it and you got to respond, which is good. That's God telling Shador, be yourself. I got this. Be yourself. I got this. And now they look stupid. They look stupid because you can't even talk about the traffic ticket no more because he goes out to the baseball game and people go crazy. And he walks in there with the people around him and he's confident. And then he gets up at bat and knocks a damn home run. He's an athlete. He's good at everything, just like his daddy. So y'all full of shit. That's what that means. It proves that Cleveland is on that BS, just like it proved the prank. The prank proved that they were on that BS. You see, it's the same thing. Exposing in the draft, the NFL, the prank exposed that they were trying to humiliate him. The softball game shows that they are intentionally holding back a two-sport athlete who can play two sports at a high level. That he is good just like his daddy. What did Trump say? Who did he say? He talked about y'all stupid. When the sports not look at DNA, Randy Moss' son got to try out because he's Randy Moss' son on the same team that Randy Moss played for. So technically, Shedeur should be in Atlanta. Shiloh should be in Atlanta. That's what they do with these guys. Why you think that they clamoring about Arch Manning? They just want him. They don't give a damn if he good or not. They showed you that with Jackson Dart. And it's crazy to me that the Saints think that they gonna get Arch Manning. And they could. It's crazy to me that Cleveland think that they gonna get Arch Manning. I'm like, it's probably gonna be the Giants. Did the Saints get Jackson Dart? That's their guy. That's the Manning's guy. Matter of fact, Novalia, who's a member, sent me a message earlier and posted that she went to a Yankees game and the Mannings brought Jackson Dart out. And who think they gonna get Arch Manning? The Giants already know. And they know it ain't this year. And to me, that's why I'm like, they're not getting Shedeur because I know they saving their spot for Manny. And I didn't care. But you're not gonna defame Shedeur because you want to save your spot for somebody else or because you want your boy out of Ole Miss. You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna devalue Shedeur. You're not gonna mistreat Shedeur because you want somebody else. You can get the hell on with that. And that's why they in trouble right now. They are all in trouble. The media too. Just watch what I tell you. See, the media lied because they keep saying anonymous. They better have some damn receipts from anonymous or they finna get towed up. Hey, good evening, Amber. It says you don't draft anyone that isn't good. They have gone crazy. And it's crazy to me how arrogant they are that they want to tell us who Shedeur is. Y'all ain't never even seen him play. And he got hours and hours of film between Jackson State and Colorado. And the only time you saw him sack like that was at Colorado. So you could have looked at Jackson State and see that there was a problem at Colorado. That was obvious. He has transformed every program that he went to. He's a winner everywhere he go. Who that sound like? His daddy. So now you want to act like you don't know who Coach Prime is. Now you want to act like you don't give people tryouts and you don't draft people on the strength of their DNA. That's what we doing? See, they want to change the rules when it comes to Shedeur because of 17 to 32. If you step back a little bit and you look at Cam, Shedeur, and Miro at 18, you can see it. But that's why they kept you focused on Shedeur. That's why they never talked about Miro. And that's why they only talked about Cam in relation to Shedeur. Travis just found out what Cam Ward just found out. They was just using me. They don't give a damn about me. They was just using me against Shedeur. Facts. Travis's contract is not signed. They ain't fixed it yet. Cam got to compete for the starting job, even though he listed as QB1. And they got him in a dysfunctional situation with Will Levis behind him, and the local media has called it out in Tennessee. Cam and Travis now see all of their praise was to basically disparage Shedeur. Not that they not good, but they pit both of them against Shedeur. They see it now. They see it. And Cam told, Shedeur told Cam, oh, they gonna come after you too. And he ain't lying. This man is competing for his job. He don't care because they can pay me, so I'm good. Well, he ain't got paid yet, but his contract is supposed to be guaranteed. But we have to look at that too, I'm sure. There's a reason why Caleb Williams wasn't in a hurry to sign his number one overall draft pick contract and had to hire lawyers to try to circumvent the CBA. And Cam didn't sign his contract right away either. So he eventually signed it. But sound like don't none of them get paid for a minute though. They won't stop all these millions of dollars of guys. Yep, they don't want them having generational wealth. Facts. Don't know if it's true, but I read Myles Garrett has several speeding tickets as well as crashed while speeding. K Hayes, that wouldn't surprise me. I just said on Ballers, that was one of the opening scenes. The guy was in the Bentley, and he was speeding through traffic, weaving in and out of cars, and the girl started fighting him, and he ran into a bulldozer and died. It said he is not QB, so they looked over it. Who are you talking about? It said, I need that too, K Hayes. Oh, okay. 2025, the year of revelations. Facts. That's why I said somebody called Cat Williams. It's jealousy and hatred. It is unity. It is. That's all it is. They don't want him to get to their coveted QB1 position and ball out. They don't. They don't want him being Tom Brady's mentor and balling out. They don't. They don't want him breaking the records of the people they hold precious and dear. And it tells you that that's what it's about because they're making Cam compete with the guy that already failed. And they're paying him guaranteed money. That's how desperate they are to hold back these elite black quarterbacks coming out of college. That's why Shedeur was locked out of the first round. He's too good to be locked out of the first round. Even the NFL had him as a first round. They don't even care. CU recruiting will be fine, of course. Yeah, CU, they just got somebody else. I'm like, okay. And I think they said last call. So they must be getting ready to wrap up recruiting. The receivers look good. People ask Reach the People Media, can you please show the defensive backs more? I don't know why he always manages to get the receivers out there working out. I don't know, but hey, I'm just ready to get the pads on so I can see. And I don't get excited about recruiting until I know who gonna be on the team because people leave. Because they said somebody was supposed to commit to us and they went somewhere else. I'm like, see, that's why I don't get into that. But welcome to everybody that wants to stay at CU. Definitely a good choice. If you didn't go to HBCU, definitely a good choice. There is an article written by Athlon that says, what? Insinuates that Flacco, oh, it insinuates that Flacco is the person to be cut. This article was published today. I'm not shocked. I think he won't out of there. See, Flacco, Kirk Cousins, and Aaron Rodgers, and probably some other people, but those three, they do not want to be second to these guys. See, Flacco was on the practice squad in 2023. He came off the practice squad and they gave him the baton. See, the other three guys rotated. They could have named one of them the starter. They didn't want to. Just like they don't want to name Shedeur the starter. What's the difference between Shedeur, DTR, Watson, and PJ Walker? They got the same melanin. They rotated those three guys so they didn't have to name none of them a starter. And they thought they were safe. They made them seem like they were battling. And then they just took Flacco off the practice squad. I guess he didn't want to be there sitting behind them on the bench. So they just left him on the practice squad till we needed him. And then when it was time to name a starter for the playoff game, they named him. But then he got hurt. And then instead of going back to those three guys, they went to somebody totally different. That's how they ended up with 5 quarterbacks. Uh, Cleveland, when it comes to quarterbacks, is highly negligent with these guys' careers. What they get ready to do to Shedeur, they've already done. I don't want you to be the starter. That's what this is about. Which makes me think he was never going to be their franchise QB. So they played him from the jump. That's what it seems like. Oh, somebody said something about Shedeur's contract might have a mistake in it, and something about the lawyer made a mistake, so they might be able to invalidate it. I haven't had a chance to look into that, uh, but that is interesting. That is very very interesting at this point. Let me know if y'all heard the same thing. I forgot who said that. Somebody said it in the member section, I think, or just under one of the other videos. It said they mad at Coach Prime. He talking stuff, and they don't like that. That's facts. That's facts. Roger's story needs to be understood. It's his business if he is married, but why lie? He's lying because he just got accused of domestic violence. So he figured if this woman marries me, which she don't exist according to his own family, they're like, no. He's doing that to deflect from what Danica Patrick said about him. If I'm married to somebody else, she lying. This girl wouldn't marry me if I was an abuser. Therefore, Danica's lying. He's trying to cover. How is that for accountability? Why not just come out and say it ain't true? He refuses to do that. Probably because she got documentation. And all the outlets going along with it by saying, one outlet said, she talks about how he leaves behind a trail of blood, right? And then uh it's like that's in the article, but the caption says she talks about the emotional abuse. Well, that's physical abuse, right? So it's only a few outlets that actually have it like it really is. Of course, I snagged them, right? So he's saying he's married to deflect, just like Colin Cowherd is deflecting by saying, think about it, okay? Colin Cowherd coming out loud with 5 weeks off with the Browns, right? Saying that Shedeur shouldn't start. You know what that was? Let me just throw something up in the air so nobody will notice that Shedeur is suffering the effects like his father from the draft. That's what Colin Cowherd was doing. It's called deflecting. So if I push the conversation, no matter how stupid it is, about a speeding ticket, I get people off the fact. I get people away from the thoughts. Oh, he's struggling. He's suffering like his dad. That's why I said it, because he is. That's what, and that what Coach Prime said. You're allowing your problems to get to you, to disrupt your peace. Yeah, he's stressed. He's driving behind the wheel of a Hemi engine, what they say is 700 horsepower and torque, and some kind of torque. And I'm like, okay, I don't, I know what that is on the drill, but I don't know how that works in the truck. Um, and he probably, he said it. He was vibing, listening to music, and it's easy to get there. So, in other words, and he already took accountability. He already got a driver. He did what you're supposed to do after you make a mistake. See, a lot of us make that mistake when we're driving long stretches. A lot of us do. Some of us get caught. Some of us don't. Some of us, like me, hit the gas. Because I know when I'm traveling and I look down and I'm thinking I'm good because I'm keeping up with everybody else and they going 85, so I'm going 80. Cops don't care. The speed limit is 75, right? So even though I'm keeping up with the traffic, if I see a cop on the shoulder or in the grass, I'm hitting the brake, bro. He didn't see the cop, probably because he didn't have no lights on. In Louisiana, they sit off in the pasture to the side. They say you're not supposed to do that. That's supposed to be entrapment, but I'm sure every state got their own laws, right? And I know, like, because I travel these stretches so much, I know where the cops be at. But somebody who's not familiar with the area doesn't know, and you gonna get caught unless you looking at other people, and if nobody else is around, then you just bait. And that's what it was. But he handled it maturely. He handled it well. Young people get tickets until they get tired of defensive driving, until they get tired of paying, having to go to court, having to be online, and it's a money problem, and then it's a time management hog. So nobody wants to deal with that. And you get that at least twice, three times, or whatever. You out. You like, look, it makes you think. That's what happens to a lot of young people. That's why their insurance is so high from the beginning. If that's why they ask you your age. If you in Texas, if you have a person under the age of 25 living in your house, you gonna pay whether they drive your car or not. So if you got a young person in the house who really probably should be at school, but they came home, the insurance company gonna be like, it says the driver's license for a person under 25, so we gonna go ahead on and charge you for that. And you're like, they don't even drive my car. They got their own car. They don't care. They do not care. Insurance is a scam anyway. But the point is, if somebody's under the age of 25, their insurance is higher. And even if they live with you and don't drive your car, you gonna pay. That's how serious they are about that. They understand the science behind the underdeveloped prefrontal cortex. The NFL is BS. It is. It really is. I hope the players are learning. I agree too. I agree, Tina. I'm like, look, y'all need to start catching on. That's why Lenore Seller's father coming out and being ridiculous and saying his son don't need $8 million. Loyalty is better. I'm like, and what the hell have you been watching? And you from South Carolina. I'm like, and then that story was starting to get everywhere. Oh, his father, congratulations. They love the stupidity of that. They love the stupidity of that decision. They know you were supposed to take the money. We applauded you for going with Loyal. Did you see Loyalty in the draft? He must not know Coach Prime history in the NFL. As an employee, an analyst, a player, I'm like, where did you see any loyalty? It's like he did that to make other people feel good. Yeah, okay, all right. Well, your son number 19, so we gonna see how that go. Maybe he'll be like Cam, and he gonna get the money, but then he gonna have to work for his job. They just gonna make his life hard. There was a time when I was doing, oh, I was doing what? Was that 95? 95 on I-95, and I didn't know. And I didn't have a heavy engine. I've seen people do it, but it scares the hell out of me. I'm like, cause you know what I think? I'm gonna need you to slow down. I'm like, cause if we pop a tire, I'm not trying to die. That's how I get. Cause I think about the something could happen here. I don't drive next to trucks on the freeway. I let them pass. I don't get in these narrow construction lanes and pass nobody. I'm gonna wait over here and I'm gonna let all y'all go because these construction lanes with these freeways that are torn up, right? You got 18 wheelers coming up, and to me they be speeding. That's just how I feel. They be speeding, and the back sometime of the trailer be swaying. I'm not doing it. So I just wait over here until we out of the construction, and then I'm gonna go around. Oh, that's crazy. Ghost and Nessa said. So yeah, no, I totally agree. That's why when they said he had a heavy engine, I was like, okay, what does that mean? I mean, I know it's souped up or something, but that's why young people shouldn't have cars like that. But he got that from overtime, I think. I think that's like one of those sponsor vehicles. But he normally don't drive himself anyway. So try and see, this is what happens. This is like guys saying, see, you was trying not to be yourself. Be yourself. You have a driver. You sleep with the lights on. So you have a driver, right? Don't shrink yourself for these people. The fans love this. Keep doing it. And I don't know if y'all noticed it, but when he got back to doing this and he was at the camp, that's when they started with the he's slow thing. See, they think they can get him because he wants to start. He knows he's the best. That's why I said yesterday, don't want nothing. Just enjoy the experience. Wherever you are is God's protection for you. If they have you at fourth, cool. Don't even try to figure out what God's saving you from. You're going to eventually see it anyway. Probably that O-line that they don't know what it's going to do because it's a bunch of hodgepodge of guys together and they haven't played yet. This gonna be their first season, a lot of them playing together. And see, they're gonna have to figure that out. And I don't need them to figure it out on Shedeur. Because I'm not gonna be okay with the excuse of, oh, they just need time to get it together. So I'm okay with it. Keep him at the back of the line for now. If God want him at the front, he gonna get up there. But for now, enjoy the experience. Make memories with your teammates. And that's it. They drive at least 90 to 95. Bridgeport, Connecticut. What? Drive that area for months. Well, I didn't know that. That's fast. Okay. Tuna said, driving on a suspended license and 3 times a felony. Ask me. I'm not going to ask you how you know. No need to incriminate yourself or whoever you know. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. You know how people drive on a suspended license? Like, I mean, I guess you could do it, right? I guess you can because, I mean, you just got to not get stopped, right? So that's how you do it, right? And don't let it be a boy on your insurance. It's overly expensive. Facts. Facts. Yeah, my son got a ticket in Lubbock and I bought him a car. And we were getting his insurance. And I was like, this more than the car note. Was like serious. Like, so you trying to tell me his insurance for this car is more than the car note? Oh, Cause he got a ticket in Lubbock. And I remember when he got the ticket, cause he called me to my mom. I got a ticket. And I was like, God darn, like that, right? Speed. What they do? I don't even know where he was going. And he had to pay the ticket. Uh and I was like, bro, this is crazy. So he gonna probably have like his shit set up the way it's supposed to be set up. Uh so he about 26. He probably gonna be married with children or something. I'm like, cause this is crazy. And Texas law is also crazy. See, Texas try to get you. Let's say you can get your license at 16, but you think, nah, I'm not gonna get my kid's license at 16 because why? The insurance is high from 16 to about 25, right? And then let's say you just have a kid that don't want to drive and they get their license at 26. You know what Texas does? You a new driver. You might as well should have got it at 16. They don't care how old you are in Texas. If you start driving at the age of 26, you have new driver's insurance, which means you 16 to 25 on paper. Anybody else know that that's the case where they live at? That's Texas for facts. I'm in Georgia, but I don't know what I don't. Now I'm gonna tell you something about the insurance in Georgia. Okay, uh, Atlanta, Atlanta's insurance is high because there are so many car break-ins. Y'all know if you have the Ring camera, right? You know you get the neighborhood information. Like people always talk about somebody lost their dog or something. It's like every day I found somebody's dog, or somebody's looking in my car at 4 in the morning, or somebody just stole something out my car. Right? Atlanta's insurance is so high because of the break-ins. I don't care where you live at. If you live in what is considered the city, it's gonna be high. In your car, nothing may have ever happened to you, but you gotta pay because this area has a lot of break-ins. So downtown, midtown, I don't know about Buckhead, all of that. It's just expensive. It's expensive. And then a lot of the cars, the houses around here don't have garages, so you can secure your car. They have street side parking. So that's just like a feast for theft, right? And you know, it's insane, bro. It just make you don't even want to have a car. I'm like, this is kind of high, and I don't have any tickets or accidents. They're like, it don't matter where you live at. I'm like, wow. I wish I would have known that first. It's serious. It's serious. So I totally get it. It said, I'm what? I'm delusion. What'd you say? I'm something out. I don't know what they say. It said the mortal words of Mad Dog Russo with his road dog. Paul, okay, with his road dog. Paul Feinbaum. Oh, you watch them? You watch Paul Feinbaum too? And it says Ghost Nessa said, yes, Shedeur, be bougie. You like Audemars Piguet watches. Yep, Balenciaga Rolls Royce, sponsored by Maybach. Yeah, he bougie. Of course he bougie. That's why when I saw him in that truck, I'm like, why is he in that? Then overtime, I don't know why they put this out, but they put out the video of them doing like a scavenger hunt, and they was looking for the little trucks. It was like, this is our truck. That's what it basically was, a reminder that that's where he got the truck from. Like, this not his truck. He don't know how to drive this, and he don't really drive like that. He don't drive them trucks like that. That's probably why he still got a Mississippi license, because he don't really drive. And if you don't really drive, you don't really have to get another license. But technically, you're supposed to get another license. The petty crime ran me out of Atlanta, bro. I could get it. Blue Moon, I could get it. Like, people on the ring cam, somebody just stole my package. So and so dog, there's an in the street, or this, it's something. It's just package theft is a huge problem in Atlanta. I don't care where you live, what type of dwelling you live in, package theft is a problem. K Hayes said insurance also targets poor black people. Yeah, because of the zip code. Yep. It said their rates pay for themselves and the other people. I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that. They said it used to be something called redlining. I think they still do it. I don't care what nobody say. I think they still do it. I think if you live in a zip code, buy another zip code, you're gonna pay for what's going on in that zip code. That's just how I feel about it. Year one to see you, Mad Dog, said he tired of hearing about Deion Sanders in Sports Center. Said he's Dion out. Oh, okay. And I hope CU loses. Oh, that's rude. That's rude. That's rude. That 57 of us, just take a minute and look at the like button and make sure you hit the like button. Unity said everything is a crime. These people always seeking ways to earn money. Right. No, insurance is a racket. Insurance is a racket. Like, it's crazy how much you pay into insurance, whether it's life insurance or health insurance, or car insurance. It don't matter. Boat, motorcycle, it don't matter. You gonna pay way more than if you have an accident, right? And again, Texas, flood insurance. Now you want to talk about a racket? Um, when they have the hurricanes and this, that, and the other, it's crazy, right? It's crazy, and it's basically like They'll say like if you live in 100-year floodplain, your insurance is this much. Now it might not flood, but you live in 100-year floodplain that I don't know who designated, so you got to pay if it flood in your time span of the 100 years, right? But then, since now is so many hurricanes after Harvey, back to back to back. Well, you know, you didn't really get hit by that last hurricane, so you might get by hit this one, so your rate's gonna go up. I don't miss Texas at all. It's too hot, and at the same time, it's just not the place where I want to be. But Atlanta, like the theft, is crazy. But like, it's just package theft, auto theft. I mean, I don't really see people bothering other people. You know how like people like to say, it's not a good city. It actually is, and it's very diverse. You have people coming from all over, and I just feel like the issue with Atlanta is the car theft, the break-ins, and the package theft. And like on the ring cam, people be like, somebody looking in my window, and I was like, it sounds crazy when you look at this type of stuff because it's in a small radius, right? And so it's always something. But it's a lot of theft. I will say that. It is a lot of theft. And package theft gotta be the worst. That and the cars. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for hitting the like button. So we're gonna get ready to get out of here. We made it for an hour and 25 minutes. This was nice. Don't forget next week, we return on Monday at 12:30. But we have decided that every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is a members only live stream. And we're probably gonna be on that one for an hour to two just to talk about, give ourselves about 2 hours to talk about a lot of stuff. So anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. And that's gonna be my last one for the day on Friday at 6, and then I'll probably drop some videos after that. Did you see that the city board is telling the football teams to move in 2024, but the city will keep the name? The what? What's that, Elijah? Thank you, Queen T. What's that, Elijah? Ain't no damn way I ever live in Atlanta. Absolutely not. Hit the like button on y'all way out. We're wrapping up. Thank you, Queen T. Did you see that the city board is telling the football team, what football team we talking about, Elijah, is to move in 2029, but the city will keep the name? I'm confused. Let me know what you're talking about, Elijah. You talking about the Falcons? um I have said the same thing about insurance. It's a scam. Can we get half of what we pay for into insurance? Whew, if we haven't filed a claim. Yep, it's a ripoff. 2029, the Browns. Oh, they supposed to be moving? Did you see that the city board is telling the football team to move in 2029? I thought they got a new stadium or something, but the city will keep the name. I don't know. No, I didn't know, but I'm gonna look into that. That is quite interesting. Honestly, I really don't want to know nothing about Cleveland because uh, I'm really sick of Cleveland. I Part of me thinks the way that they move is shiesty. They gonna hold Shedeur and bury him on the depth chart. That's what I think. I think the fans gonna stand on their head, but they gonna try it. Um, and that's why I don't really want to get too involved with them. And then again, he might not be there because don't forget, Coach Prime said, "Let's finish strong." So they might already know that they're gonna trade him. I figured they would by the end of this season, but they might before this season. I just don't know where he would go. See you later, Salafi. Oh, you just not joining us? We getting ready to wrap up. Okay, welcome back. I sent you a video about the Browns moving. Oh, okay, Tina. Okay, thank you, Elijah. So Tina says she sent me a video about the Browns moving. So I'm gonna look into that. That's interesting. Okay, I'll look at that. All right, y'all. We're gonna get out of here. 57 views. Hit the like button for me on the way out if you haven't already. This was awesome. We'll be back tomorrow at 9:30 tomorrow night to follow up on whatever happens overnight. And if Shadua get cut, we probably gonna go live, and I'm okay with it. I don't have a problem with it. I just want to know, is anybody else gonna pick him up, or they gonna collude against him? Like, we don't need a quarterback because they've done it before. Terrell Pryor and Lamar Jackson. So I'm not upset if he gets cut, and he has options. You never know, right? So I'll see y'all later. 22 said Cleveland Browns in court over a lawsuit In 2029, Cleveland said they may move to Mississippi. What? Mississippi? Val, I'm like you. What? I want him out of Cleveland. Facts. Mississippi. Shalom. See you later, Unity. Yeah, I'm going to watch this video. That's interesting. Mississippi. Okay. All right. I'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Yeah, I don't know why Mississippi. That's just crazy.
Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.